Hey guys, so we have finally made it to the end. WandaVision episode 9. I've very mixed feelings about this because on the one side I am so excited to watch it, and on the other side I am so sad that it's ending. I am just finally really happy that Marvel has decided to give Scarlet Witch her due. I do think she was underutilized in the films, but at the same time, I mean, I'm arguing with myself. I can see why she would be underused because, you know, when you have your Iron Man and Captain America and your franchise is based on them, you of course have to give them more screen time. But when that was happening, I never thought I would get WandaVision, so I was always upset. I was like, oh, she's never gonna shine. So the fact that this show was made and they gave Wanda and the Scarlet Witch the attention and love she deserves, I am just really happy to see all this like fandom popping up about her. And everyone who wasn't necessarily a Scarlet Witch fan before is now. You're late to the party, but I'm glad you're here. So I can't wait anymore, so let's just watch episode 9 of WandaVision.
Scarlet Witch.
Oh, it was such a good ending of the last episode. And that makes you the Scarlet Witch. Ah! Goosebumps. The magic version of bitch please. I like the Wizard of Oz reference. I'm not gonna lie, he looks kind of badass like this.
Your ex and your boyfriend together at the same party. Who are you gonna choose, Wanda?
This character of Agatha Harkness is amazing. She's remotely not like this in the comic books, but the shade that Kathryn Hahn brings to this role is amazing. She's so brilliant. I love it. That's just kind of funny.
You must be destroyed. I know that.
At last. It's one of those things that I've just always wanted to see in the Marvel films, and that is Vision kicking some serious butt. And again, also like Wanda, I think he was just really underutilized in the films. And again, arguing with myself, I get it. You know, he's kind of maybe a little overpowered to what chance do like any of the normal Avengers have against him with all his like, you know, like density manipulation and phasing and such. But like they didn't really show his powers. It's just the audience is just meant to understand that he's super powerful, but I don't think we ever really got to see much of it in all of his appearances in the films. So it's just really fun to see him like fighting himself. Like he had like phase, like the one fist right here, and then the phasing, the other hand right here. Like just so cool to see. Don't kill Vision. Don't kill Vision.
There's an entire chapter devoted to you in the Darkhold.
It was the Darkhold.
The Scarlet Witch is not born, she is forged. Power exceeds that of the Sorcerer Supreme. Destiny to destroy the world.
I just got chills. That is just entire... Okay, so now we know it is the Darkhold, which that opens an entire realm of MCU New Marvel possibilities that we'll get to in just a second. But I just love that there's this entire chapter dedicated to the Scarlet Witch. That was some kick-ass like drawing. Like that looks like a just epic. Ah! I also like the fact that they mentioned Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, and called her more powerful. That is just... I know, I didn't forget. So she's gonna destroy the world. You know, that is a mighty, weighty destiny right there.
If I could just hold her, please.
What are you doing to her?
Okay, you're gonna cut away right there. Ah! He's Ralph! Ralph Boner?
Does he live here?
well, that whole Quicksilver was from the multiverse seems to have been scratched. I can't say I'm not necessarily disappointed. I actually think I'm not surprised by this because I do feel when they announced his casting that he was going to be in the show before WandaVision aired, I had a feeling it was more for misdirection because obviously everyone would assume that he would be playing Quicksilver. And maybe I lent more on it was misdirection because I really didn't want him to, because I'm still holding out hope that the MCU will bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson's version of Pietro, because that's what I want to see. That's the Quicksilver I want, not Evan Peters' X-Men version. So, not disappointed, not surprised, but Ralph Bohner? Like...
We feel your pain.
Your grief is poisoning us.
No, stop.
Please, let us go.
She's lifting the barrier.
Can't exist without the other. Save Wanda.
Elizabeth Olsen is so good. I just like feel like the anguish in everything that she's doing, and she's just doing such a good job at it. I do have to say, I like that attention to detail in the sense of how they also showed it when she first created Westview in the last episode, but when her children and Vision are kind of like disappearing because she's getting rid of the Hex, they look like they're disintegrating into little puzzle pieces. It's very reminiscent of the House of M comic book cover, where she's basically like this, and it's basically the Scarlet Witch, but it's like she's like breaking into like fragmented like puzzle pieces, and that's just kind of how artistically they were showing how she was like manipulating reality with her powers. So I see you. Well done. That was just like a mini like Avenger team up shot. I love it. I love the kids. I actually just realized that they kind of color-coded the kids in their superhero attire. So they're not in their costume, but like the colors that they're wearing in their clothes is very reminiscent of their costume. Obviously, Tommy's in green, which is kind of like a speedster Young Avengers costume. And then Wiccan has kind of this whole like blue, red, white motif going, which is, again, his Young Avengers costume. So I like what they're doing there. And please don't die. Please don't die.
Mother and I never really prepared you for this.
But you were born for it.
Handle the military. Mommy will be right back.
They're so cute. Can we just quickly talk about the fact that Hayward just shot at 2 kids? Like, douche. And I just can't wait to see Monica, like, fully powered realized, because we've seen her eyes glow blue, purple, and now, like, yellow. She looked like she was, like, turning into light or something, like, to stop the bullets. We know her powers have to do with the electromagnetic spectrum and energy itself. So it's just... so much potential. And I love the kids taking on the military. That was epic. Mommy will be right back.
Have fun in prison.
Darcy! I'm really liking the difference between the two Visions, because at the end of the day, he is an android, a robot, you know, but Paul Bettany was able to still be a robot, but still convey human emotion while still, you know, being a robot. But then when you look at him right there as White Vision, he's so much more colder, more robotic, and you can just see it as, I guess, more lack of facial expression, but it's just done so well. Oh, but I'm a little sad, though. I really liked how White Vision's eyes looked before he had kind of like his memories restored. So now he looks like, not silly, he still looks cool, but I like the whole like sky blue with the black. That looked just really like cool and intense. I would have kept those eyes. Oh, that gave me chills. Oh, she turned them.
You are the Scarlet Witch, harbinger of chaos.
That gives me so much joy. Okay, I had a feeling they were going to do something like that. So, in the episode where you kind of see Agatha's backstory, you know, when the witches are basically trying to use their magic to burn her at the stake. You know, she kills all the other witches, and then her mom, you know, has one last go at her. And you saw, like, an energy crown kind of, like, form around the mother's, like, head, around her forehead. And I was like, oh, that looks so cool, because maybe she, you know, there's like a hierarchy of witches, or maybe because she's like the leader of the coven, you know, that's why it's kind of like a focal point of like energy or magic. It just looked really, really, really cool. And I was just like, oh, I didn't think they were gonna like give that to Wanda, but I just thought that that was gonna be kind of like a reason why maybe, you know, she has like a headdress. This energy, this like red energy headdress that, you know, like that she like forms, you know, just kind of signifies her as a Scarlet Witch is just, oh, it's so cleverly done. Whose ever idea that was Marvel, they deserve a raise, because that's just, oh, it looks so good. It looks so good. Okay, I just want to quickly talk about this real quick. I am just so finally happy that they kind of went back to Scarlet Witch's kind of like witchier aspect-y powers, because in Age of Ultron, I loved when she was first shown, you know, fighting Captain America at the very beginning. You know, like her movements are really, really creepy, you know, and it looked like she was like moving not at a natural pace, you know, especially when she comes behind Tony Stark and kind of plays with his mind. You know, it's very more like creepy. I really, really liked that. And I thought, you know, I was just like, oh, this is how they're kind of going to go with the whole witch kind of vibe for her, or essentially maybe how she got her nickname, because, you know, when she moves, it kind of has this like creepy nature to it. But then as you saw her in like Civil War and Infinity War, I was just really kind of always happy to see her on screen. But when they were use her powers, it was less mind stuff, and it was literally just kind of like energy bolts. You know, it was like pew 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 pew. Though cool, it just kind of felt like, you know, she has so much more powers in her arsenal, and I felt like that was just kind of like an easy way to use her, but not really use her. And I judged it harshly, because I wanted to see her use more cooler abilities. And I like that they kind of like went back to that here in WandaVision when she creeps up on Agatha, you know, and uses her like telepathy. And it actually felt like it was kind of like a psychic battle, which we've never really seen before in the Avengers. Even in the X-Men films, they kind of like really didn't even try to touch it or make anything look cool. Because in the comic books, the astral plane is where powerful psychics can go, and, you know, they can just do anything there. It's just like, you know, like it's the limit is their imagination. And I think the only show that has ever conveyed the astral plane or like a telepathic battle artistically or creatively was Legion on FX, which is actually connected to Marvel. It's based on David Haller, who is the son of Charles Xavier, who is also a very powerful telepath. And the way him and the Shadow King fight on the astral plane and how they convey, you know, immense power artistically and creatively on screen so the audience can see it was just really well done. And I liked how that's what that kind of felt like between Wanda and Agatha. It felt like kind of like a battle of minds, you know, like Wanda took her back to this memory, her like nightmare of it. And then Agatha was like, hold on one sec, and then turned it back on Wanda. So that's just, I hope we see more of stuff like that, because I do think it is an untapped area of the MCU that we've yet to see before. And as we are getting closer to mutants and other powerful telepaths like Professor X and Jean Grey, I do think they do need to start thinking, how should we convey the astral plane, or the astral dimension is what Doctor Strange called it when, you know, Fox still had the X-Men, and I suppose astral plane. I prefer astral plane. But let me know which one you like more. But I do think it's kind of time for them to kind of really solidify what is this astral plane, this astral dimension, and how is it going to look when powerful telepaths are using their telepathy in much cooler ways, and to kind of convey that power that they have. I could talk about this all day. It looks so good. Ah! She cast runes.
No.
Oh, it's coming. I just cannot right now. Ugh. I mean, you knew it was gonna come. You knew it was gonna happen. You know, she was gonna like embrace like the Scarlet Witch, and I was really, really hoping that she was gonna finally get a new uniform, obviously with the headdress, and she looks so fucking good. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting too excited. It looks so. Oh, it looks so good on her. Ah, there was a little part of me that kind of was waiting for like a Phoenix Raptor to like burst out. This is kind of like the Jean Grey story I always want to see in the X-Men films. You know, just her embracing the Phoenix and going like all like mega Firebird, save the galaxy, destroy the galaxy. But you know, they fucked it up. Oh, stop cursing. But this is like the next best thing. Oh, Scarlet Witch. It just, oh, she looks so good. Oh, I just, thank you, Marvel. Thank you, Kevin Feige. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She looks so good. Oh. Oh, I love the costume.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're cruel.
Oh, she smiled. I saw that.
Wait.
I'll be seeing you, Agnes.
Oh, thank God. I really, really was hoping that they were going to keep Agatha around because Catherine Hahn's portrayal of her is just freaking brilliant. And Agatha has always been more of a tutor for Wanda in her witchcraft in the comic books. So it's nice, this different angle that they took with the character. But at the same time, she was essentially just kind of like an unintentional tutor to Wanda. Like, she was unintentionally like helping her out. Like, the fact that Wanda did the whole runes thing, she learned that from Agatha. So in a way, Agatha is teaching her, but just not in the kind of like, this is how you do proper magic. She's like, I'm gonna take your powers, and this is how you do magic. So it's just really well done. I do think that's a lot of foreshadowing we just saw when she was like, I know where to find you. I'll see you around. Like, we will see Agatha again. And I do hope that it's not too far down in the future because obviously this is all opening up this whole witchcraft and magic in the MCU. And in the comic books, Agatha is a big player when it comes to magic. So I do think we will see her in the very near future. MCU, don't lose Catherine Hahn. Keep her.
Just not for us.
Oh, this is so sad.
Snug is about it.
Very proud of you both.
Family is forever. Thanks for choosing me to be your mom.
I just wanted to see you clearly.
You are my sadness, but mostly you're my love. We'll say hello again.
So long, darling.
Oh. Wow. Wow. That. Oh, that hits hard. They went for it. They just, oof. The entire, like, it's just so sad from the entire time that she's, like, walking home, you know? She knows that she's gonna say goodbye, and You can just already feel like the weight of it. And then when she's saying goodnight to the kids, and then the hex is closing in, and then she says goodbye to Vision, and the hex is even closer. It's just, oh, one after the other, just like gut punches. Oh, they did it so good. And then Vision cried too. It's just, you just really just feel for Wanda. They just, oh, he did that so well. Oh, I was expecting to cry, but like not that much. Oh, and then when she was like, thanks for choosing me as your mom. They look pissed.
I'd bring my mom back.
Oh, she even has a hoodie. Elizabeth also makes me cry. She looks so good. Oh. Let me just pull myself together. That was a good finale. That was so good. It could have been longer, but I guess I would always say that it could always be longer. All the feels in that episode.
Where's Darcy?
We better see more of Darcy. I remember when they first announced that Darcy was going to be in the show, I was like, how are they going to make that work? And then they actually kind of continued with her kind of storyline and her being, you know, like super smart because she was like the assistant to Natalie Portman. But she just really had so many good lines in this show. And I do think there is more room in the MCU for Darcy. My nose is still running from crying. Oh, here we go.
I'd like to meet with you. Where?
In space. Alright, well, that's essentially setting up Monica for either Captain Marvel 2 or Secret Invasion, which is also going to be on Disney Plus. Or both. I would not say no to having Monica in both. More intrigued to see how powerful she's going to become. Because in the comic books, like, she is like OP. Like, she's essentially like immortal because she can just turn to energy. So, here we go. Please tell me that's Wundagore Mountain. Oh my god, she looks so good as a Scarlet Witch. So she's doing a whole Doctor Strange astral projection, multitasking, learning magic. And she looks so good. She looks so witchy, the way she's like turning stuff and like her little like orbs of energy. And then like, and then her kids come and they're like screaming like for help. Oh, yay, the kids are still alive. I have multiple feelings about that post-credit scene. Alright, so that final post-credit scene I loved. The only tiny, and it's actually like the more I think about it, the tinier it becomes, is I would have liked to see Doctor Strange in that post-credit scene. I do think, I mean, obviously that is where they're heading, but I would have liked to see it. But the more I think about it now, I'm actually, you know what? No, I'm actually happy he's not in it because it's more, this is Wanda's story. So I do like the fact that, you know, she's taken it upon herself to learn where her power comes from. And I just think it's so well done because she has like the Darkhold. She has like the Darkhold magic book that Agatha had, the Book of the Damned. And she's like, you know, like reading it. She's learning whether it's more about witchcraft or her powers. But she just looks so cool right there. Oh my God. So we hear the kids are like yelling for help. So one, kids are still alive. But it also opens it up because where are the kids? Are they going to go with the whole storyline that they were shards of Mephisto's soul? And, you know, now Mephisto has the kids, and that's why she's going to go get the kids, and that's how they're going to bring Mephisto into the MCU. I do think Wanda still has a big role to fulfill when it comes to the multiverse. I do think she's going to be one of the main reasons, whether it's done on purpose or inadvertently. She will be causing, essentially, the multiverse to essentially kind of fall into disarray or shatter it, which essentially will lead into what we're all guessing is going to happen in the new Spider-Man film with all the multiple Spider-Mans. And then obviously, you know, Doctor Strange, you know, in the multiverse of madness. I do think she will be the person who kind of puts the universe in jeopardy because of her tampering with the multiverse, because maybe she's trying to find her kids in one of these multi-universes where they actually do exist. So they can do so much with it. And it's just really good to know that this is not the end of Scarlet Witch. If anything, it's the beginning of Scarlet Witch. And I really hope that Elizabeth Olsen isn't going anywhere anytime soon, because she's amazing as Wanda. She is so, so, so good. Her portrayal of just Wanda throughout the series, because you can kind of look that WandaVision was essentially, going through the stages of grief, starting with like denial, when she was like in the perfect sitcom, and then just coming to acceptance at the end. And it's just her and Paul Bettany were so good. You believe their love. He's a freaking robot. I always remember when I read the comic books, I'm like, how is a Scarlet Witch with vision? He's like an android. Like, how does that work out? But wow, they convinced me. Like, the MCU just, like right there. They just both did so well, and God, I really hope she gets nominated. I hope she wins the Emmy. Like, she deserves it. You just feel the angst, the grief, the despair, just everything you feel, and she did it so, so well. One of my favorite things the show has also done is that they made the Scarlet Witch more of like a title. It's not just because her powers are witchy, which is initially what I thought would happen in how she got her name. It's actually, it's like a foretold, it's like a title. It's like there's like certain like reverence to it. Her just assuming that mantle of I am the Scarlet Witch is just, it just did it so, so well. And then, okay, I mean, come on. That energy head crown looked amazing. It's just, and I'm just really, really glad that, again, that they went back to more of a witchy kind of special effect to her powers. And I do think that's going to be much more interesting to see, especially in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Where did Vision go, though? That's a good point. I don't know. Where did Vision go? He's on a quest, Vision Quest, which is actually a comic book storyline where he essentially just kind of goes mad and tries to take over all the computers in the world. I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think White Vision is on a quest to more find himself, maybe his humanity again. And I do think that'll probably be a slow burn in a good way, in a sense of, he's not going to just all of a sudden be the Vision that we've come to know and love, and that Wanda has come to know and love, and has come to love Wanda. I do think it's going to be a slow burn, and we will get there eventually. And I do think when the Scarlet Witch and Vision storylines eventually, get wrapped up, I do think people really want to see them end up together. I don't think any romance in the MCU has come close to Vision and Wanda. Like, yay, Captain and Peggy, that was really nice, and of course I liked it too. But this show has just kind of cemented their love for me, and I think for a lot of people, and just, they sold it. And I like the fact that, looking back now, and all the times you see them on camera in Civil War, Infinity War, you just kind of, I did feel like it was rushed. Everything was kind of left to happen off screen, and you just had to believe that it happened and believe that they were in love. And then at the end of Infinity War, when she destroys them, again, she did an amazing job portraying the grief that came with having to destroy the person that she loves. And you believed it, but you just didn't see enough on-screen time that it felt like it was earned or anything. Like, you wanted to see the actual romance on screen. And now that we have this, it's kind of come like almost like full circle. It's like you feel like you have the whole story now, in the sense that you can believe that they're in love. And I feel now when you go back and you watch like Infinity War and you see her destroying Vision to destroy the Mind Stone, it's just gonna hit so much harder and just different, and on so many different layers, that it's just, they did so good. So Wanda has the Darkhold, and that opens up, like I said, so many possibilities, because the Darkhold in the comics was created by a demonic god called Cthon. He is the one who lived and resided in Wundagore Mountain, which is what I think they try to convey with the whole mountain range in the post-credit scene. He essentially resided in that mountain, and that is also the mountain range where Pietro and Wanda were born. And when she was born, Cthon kind of touched Wanda, which essentially imbued her with the ability to control chaos magic. He's the one who wrote the Darkhold. That's the person. Maybe instead of Mephisto, we're going to get Cthon in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. There's just so much they can do with that. Another thing they can do with it is, we know that they want to do Blade. They're revamping Blade. And if I remember this correctly, the Darkhold is actually the book that kind of started vampires way back when in the MCU. So there's like this whole storyline where Blade is on the journey to destroy the Darkhold and destroy, like, you know, the evilness of it. So I do think maybe that will play a part in bringing Blade into the MCU. And then another person who really likes the Darkhold, who's also a sorcerer, is Doctor Doom. So maybe we will see him also kind of vying for the Darkhold and when they eventually get to the Fantastic Four. In neither interpretations of the Fantastic Four that we've seen on screen by Fox has Doctor Doom done anything with like magic or sorcery. I think in the first time he had like freaking electricity, and then the second time I can't even remember because the movie was that bad. So it'll be good to see them finally bringing, you know, a Doctor Doom that's more like sorcery and stuff, because they're starting to really set up the whole magic and witchcraft in the MCU. So I'm very keen to see what happens with the Darkhold. Or maybe Doctor Strange is going to come and bite Wanda because it's like forbidden magic. Like, there's like so much that can be done with it, and it's just so great that the Scarlet Witch has it. I've loved this show. I have literally loved this show so much. I'm kind of sad. I am sad. I'm sad that it's over. And I know in 2 weeks we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it's just not the same. It's just, Scarlet Witch has always been my favorite Avenger. And again, like looking back, I never thought that we would get WandaVision. I didn't think that was going to be like a possibility. So I was just always so sad that she was just never going to get the attention that she deserved. And it's just so great to see that Marvel has invested the time to create WandaVision. And it's such, there's so many layers to this show. It's just really just about, you know, the stages of like, of just accepting grief and coming to terms with it. And Wanda's journey from the beginning to the end. I think when you go back and rewatch it now, there's just gonna be so many details that you just pick up. And now that we know it was Agatha all along, you know, everything that went wrong was Agatha instead of like maybe necessarily Wanda just messing things up. Oh, this show just really hit so many emotional levels for me that, and Elizabeth Olsen was perfect. She was perfect. And thank you for keeping an accent. Thank you. Stop taking away your accent. I'm a little tired because I feel like emotionally depleted. Just a little. Well, again, guys, thank you so much for watching my reaction videos. It really means a lot. I'm really happy you guys are really liking them. I think I just said really a lot. I will be